You guys will never believe what happened. I just turned 18, like 5 days ago, and being an adult is already a total whirlwind. I'm living in this artsy apartment building in the city's creative hub, chasing my dream of becoming a graphic novelist, and my neighbor, Henry, is this older guy with a rugged carpenter vibe. Think silver hair, calloused hands, and a smile that just gets you. So, the other day, I was helping him with a community project, and I did something totally bold. Picture this. I'm in his closet sorting clothes for a donation drive, and I slip on one of his shirts. Way too big, but super cozy. The way his eyes lit up when he saw me? Pure electricity. Want to know how it all unfolded? Keep watching, because this story's packed with bold moves and sparks that just won't quit. Like and subscribe for more. Sarah had just turned 18 5 days ago, and the rush of her new adulthood felt like a burst of inspiration for her graphic novel sketches. Her small apartment in the city's arts district was her creative sanctuary, filled with sketchbooks, colored pencils, and the faint scent of ink, where she poured her dreams of becoming a published artist. The milestone of her 18th birthday was like a key unlocking a world of possibilities, freedom to take risks, chase passions, and make choices that felt daring and new. Her latest comic panel, a rebellious artist in a neon-lit city, reflected her restless energy. But lately, her thoughts kept drifting to Henry, her neighbor down the hall whose quiet strength had become a distraction she couldn't shake. At 59, Henry was a retired carpenter with a rugged charm that had caught her eye since she moved in 3 months ago. His silver hair was cropped short, his green eyes crinkled with years of laughter, and his calloused hands, marked by decades of crafting furniture, moved with a steady grace. His warm, morning neighbor in the hallway, paired with a lopsided smile, made her heart skip. She'd told herself it was nothing, just a crush on a kind older man. But her new adulthood fueled a boldness she couldn't suppress, and today, that boldness led her to his apartment. Henry had asked for her help sorting donations for a community clothing drive, a neighborly favor she'd agreed to without hesitation. They were in his spare room, surrounded by boxes of old clothes, when Sarah wandered to his closet to grab a few shirts he'd mentioned. The closet door creaked as she slipped inside, the faint scent of cedar and laundry soap filling the air. Henry was folding a pile of sweaters when he noticed her holding one of his flannel shirts against herself, the soft blue fabric draping over her frame. She smirked, tugging it on loosely, the oversized shirt hanging past her hips, her dark blonde hair spilling over the collar. "This one's better," she said softly, her hazel eyes sparkling with mischief as she adjusted the collar. "I just turned 18, and yours fits me the way I like." Henry's hands froze mid-fold, his green eyes widening slightly, a smile tugging at his lips. "Sarah," he said, his voice a low, warm rumble tinged with amusement. "That's my shirt. You planning to steal it?" Her cheeks flushed, but she held his gaze, her heart racing with her own daring. "Maybe, looks better on me, don't you think?" He chuckled, setting the sweater aside, his eyes lingering on her. "You're trouble, Sarah. Just turned 18 and already raiding my closet." The air was thick with flirty tension, the ordinary shirt now carrying an edge neither could ignore. Sarah's pulse pounded, her new adulthood making her feel bold, alive. "I'm an adult now," she teased, stepping closer, the oversized shirt brushing her thighs. "I get to make bold choices." Henry's smile was slow, knowing, his eyes twinkling. "Bold's one way to put it." "You sure you can handle the consequences?" She grinned, her heart racing. "Try me." They spent the afternoon sorting clothes, their conversation flowing easily, her comic sketches, his years crafting furniture, the quirky characters in their building. Every shared laugh and glance added to the tension, a live wire sparking between them. Sarah kept the flannel shirt on, its sleeves rolled up, and Henry's eyes flicked to her every so often, his smile betraying his amusement. "Keep that shirt, and I'll have to charge you rent," he teased. Stacking a box, she laughed, nudging him playfully. "Worth it. It's cozy. You gonna miss it?" He leaned against the wall, his eyes holding hers. "Maybe, but it does look better on you." Her cheeks warmed, and she busied herself with a pile of jeans, her heart racing. The moment lingered, the room quiet except for the rustle of fabric and the unspoken pull between them. Sarah's mind raced, her just-turned-18 confidence urging her to lean into the spark. But she held back, savoring the thrill. That evening, Sarah returned to her apartment, Henry's shirt still draped over her shoulders. Its scent, cedar and him, clinging to her. She sat at her desk, sketching a new comic panel inspired by the moment. A figure in an oversized shirt standing in a doorway, eyes bright with daring. Her phone buzzed with a text from Henry. "Missing a shirt yet? Or is it officially yours now?" She smiled, her heart skipping, and typed back, "It's mine now." "Just turned 18, so I'm allowed to claim things, right?" His reply was quick. 18's a free pass for a lot. "Bring it back tomorrow, or I'm raiding your closet next." Her pulse raced, and she laughed, the idea of Henry in her space sending a thrill through her. "Deal, but you better bring coffee." The next morning, Sarah headed to her part-time job at a local cafe, still wearing Henry's shirt under her apron. Its oversized comfort a reminder of yesterday's spark. Work was busy, pouring lattes and sketching during breaks, but her thoughts kept drifting to Henry, his smile, his voice, the way he looked at her in his shirt. Around noon, Henry walked in, a takeout coffee in each hand, his grin disarming as he slid into a booth. "Thought I'd make good on that deal," he said, passing her a cup, his fingers brushing hers, the contact sending a spark up her arm. "You're spoiling me," she teased, leaning across the table. "First your shirt, now coffee. What's next?" He shrugged, his eyes twinkling. "Maybe I'm just trying to keep up with the new 18-year-old in the building." "You're making waves already." Her cheeks warmed and they talked. The cafe's hum fading as their conversation flowed. Her comic dreams, his carpentry projects, the way their clothing drive had turned into something more. The tension was a constant undercurrent, every shared laugh and glance adding to it. Sarah's heart raced, her new adulthood making her hyper-aware of every moment, every look. "You're trouble," he said, his voice low, leaning forward. "Just turned 18 and you're already stealing shirts." She grinned, her heart racing. "Good kind of trouble, I hope." His smile was slow, knowing. "The best kind?" They lingered in the booth, the coffee growing cold, and Sarah found herself opening up. Her fears about her comics not being good enough, her excitement about being 18, her dreams of seeing her work in print. Henry listened, his eyes steady, his presence grounding her. "You've got something special," he said, his voice sincere. "Don't let those doubts hold you back. The world needs your art." Her heart swelled, caught off guard by his encouragement. "Thanks, that means a lot." The next day, Sarah's nerves were electric as she prepared for a woodworking workshop Henry was hosting at the community center, a favor he'd offered to teach locals basic carpentry. She'd signed up, curious about his world, and wore his flannel shirt, rolled up at the sleeves, as a playful nod. When she arrived, Henry was setting up tools, his green eyes lighting up when he saw her. "Nice shirt," he teased, handing her a pair of safety goggles. "Looks familiar," she grinned, adjusting the goggles. "Thought I'd wear it for luck." "Just turned 18, so I'm allowed to borrow things," he chuckled, shaking his head. "You're gonna keep me on my toes, aren't you?" The workshop was hands-on, Henry guiding the group through carving simple designs into wood. Sarah watched him, mesmerized by the way his hands moved, steady and sure, his voice calm but commanding. When he helped her adjust her grip on a chisel, his fingers brushing hers, her heart skipped, the contact electric. "You're a natural," he said, his voice low, his eyes catching hers. "Got an artist's touch." "Thanks," she said, her cheeks flushing, their faces close. "You're not bad at teaching. Though you're terrible at keeping your distance." He laughed, stepping back, his eyes twinkling. "Maybe I don't want to keep my distance." Her breath caught, the air charged with unspoken possibility. "Careful, Henry," she teased, her heart pounding. "I'm 18 now. I might take that personally." His smile was slow, knowing. "Maybe I want you to." The workshop stretched into the afternoon, and Sarah found herself lingering, helping Henry clean up. They talked about her comics, his favorite projects, the way their building felt like a small universe of its own. Every glance, every brush of their hands as they stacked tools, added to the tension, a tightrope she was eager to walk. Over the next few days, Henry became a constant in Sarah's life, slipping into her routine with an ease that thrilled her. He'd stop by the cafe with forgotten tools from the workshop, his grin betraying the excuse. They'd text late at night, sharing snippets of their lives. Henry's stories of crafting custom furniture, Sarah's dreams of publishing her graphic novel. Each interaction was laced with flirty tension, a push and pull that left her dizzy. One afternoon, Henry invited her to a neighborhood picnic in the local park, a community event filled with music and food stalls. "Thought you'd like the vibe," he said over the phone, his voice warm. "And I'd like your company." She agreed, her heart fluttering as she chose a sundress and sneakers, Henry's shirt tied around her waist for flair. The picnic was lively, string lights, neighbors laughing, a band playing soft tunes. Henry was at her side, his flannel shirt brushing her arm, his laughter warm as she teased him about his attempt at a potato sack race. "You're hopeless," she said, laughing as he tripped, catching himself with a grin. "Says the girl who stole my shirt," he shot back, nudging her playfully. Their hands brushed as they reached for a plate of cookies, and neither pulled away, the contact lingering. They sat on a blanket, sharing lemonade and talking about her comic ideas, his carpentry days, the way their paths kept crossing. The tension was a constant undercurrent, every shared laugh and glance adding to it. Sarah's heart raced, her just-turned-18 confidence urging her to lean closer, but she held back, savoring the spark. "You're trouble," he said, his tone teasing but his eyes serious, as he handed her a sip of his lemonade. She grinned, taking a sip. "Just turned 18. Trouble's my thing now," he laughed, shaking his head. "You're gonna keep me up past my bedtime, aren't you?" "Count on it," she said, her voice playful, her heart pounding. A few days later, Henry invited her to a local book fair, where indie authors and artists showcased their work. "Thought you'd love it," he said, his voice warm. "And I could use your artist's eye." She agreed, wearing a simple top and jeans, Henry's shirt tied around her waist for style. The fair was a vibrant maze of booths, books, zines, and art prints. Henry was at her side, his presence steady, his stories of old projects making her laugh. They shared a pretzel from a vendor, their fingers brushing as they tore off pieces, the contact electric. "You're good at this," she said, her voice teasing, as they paused at a booth selling graphic novels. "Making a fair feel like an adventure," he grinned, flipping through a comic. "Takes one to know one." "You're not exactly boring, Sarah," she laughed, nudging him. "Just turned 18, gotta keep things interesting." His eyes twinkled, and he pointed to a quirky zine about city life. "This one's got your name on it. Bold, like you." Her cheeks flushed, and she smiled, their fingers brushing as she took the zine to look at it. "You're relentless." "Only when it's worth it," he said, his voice low, his smile warm. They wandered the fair, stopping at booths, sharing laughs over quirky art and indie comics. Sarah's heart was full, her new adulthood making every moment with Henry feel like a leap into something new. She found herself opening up about her latest comic, a story of a young artist breaking free, and Henry listened, his eyes steady, his questions thoughtful. "You're onto something," he said, his voice sincere. "That story, it's you. Don't hold back." Her heart swelled and she nodded, caught off guard by his insight. "I'm trying, it's scary, putting it all out there." He leaned closer, his shoulder brushing hers. "Scary's good. Means it matters." One evening, Henry invited her to a local art gallery for an opening night event, a showcase of neighborhood artists. "Thought it might spark some ideas for your comics," he said, his voice warm. "And I'd like you there." She agreed, her heart racing as she chose a simple dress and sneakers, Henry's shirt tucked into her bag as a backup. The gallery was alive with color, paintings, sculptures, and the hum of creative energy. Henry was at her side, his flannel shirt brushing her arm, his laughter warm as she teased him about his taste in abstract art. "You're brutal," he said, pointing at a chaotic painting. "This could be a masterpiece." "It's a mess," she shot back, laughing as she nudged him. Their hands brushed as they reached for a program, and neither pulled away, the contact lingering. They wandered the gallery, sharing thoughts on the art, their conversation weaving through her comic dreams. His carpentry stories, the way their lives seemed to intertwine. The tension was a constant undercurrent, every shared laugh and glance adding to it. At one point, Sarah sketched a quick doodle of the gallery on a napkin, and Henry leaned over, his breath warm against her ear. "That's you," he said, pointing to her sketch, a figure in a crowd, eyes bright with wonder. Always creating, even in the middle of chaos. Her cheeks flushed, and she laughed, tucking the napkin away. "You're trouble, Henry." "Maybe," he said, his voice low, his smile teasing. "But you're keeping up." A few nights later, Henry invited her to his apartment for a late-night chat, claiming he owed her for the gallery. Sarah hesitated, her heart racing at the idea of being in his space again, but her curiosity won out. His apartment was warm, filled with wooden furniture he'd crafted himself, the air carrying the scent of sawdust and coffee. They sat on his couch, a pot of tea between them, and talked. Her latest comic panel, his favorite projects, the way their clothing drive had sparked something new. "Sarah?" he said, his voice low, leaning forward. "I'm not just here for the tea or the gallery. You know that, right?" Her heart stuttered, her breath catching. "I suspected." He reached out, his fingers brushing her wrist, light but deliberate. "Good, because I'm not good at pretending I don't want something. And I want to know you. Really know you." She swallowed, her voice unsteady. "You're trouble, Henry." "Maybe," he said, his thumb tracing a slow circle on her wrist, sending a shiver through her. "But you're not running. Just turned 18 and you're already breaking all the rules." She laughed, a shaky sound, and leaned into the moment, the heat of his touch sparking something new. "Maybe I like breaking them," she said, her voice playful but honest. He smiled, his eyes twinkling. "Good, because I'm starting to like it too." The following week, Sarah's life felt like a comic panel bursting with color. The cafe was busy, but Henry was a constant distraction. He'd started leaving notes with his donated clothes, small handwritten things tucked into pockets. "Saw a table design today that reminded me of you. Too bold for my workshop? Or, bet I can guess your favorite comic by the end of the week. Hint, it's not Wonder Woman. H." Each note made her smile, her heart race, her just-turned-18 confidence growing. Her coworker Mia noticed, cornering her at the cafe. "Henry, huh?" she said, her tone teasing but cautious. "He's got you all flustered." "Be careful." "I'm just having fun," Sarah said, but the words felt hollow. She wasn't sure what she was doing, only that Henry made her feel alive in a way she hadn't before. One evening, Henry invited her to the building's rooftop for a stargazing event. A casual gathering of neighbors with a telescope and blankets. "Thought you'd like the view," he said, his voice warm. "And I'd like you there." She agreed, wearing a sweater and jeans, Henry's shirt tied around her waist for warmth. The rooftop was cozy, fairy lights strung along the edges, neighbors chatting softly. Henry was at her side, his presence steady, his laughter warm as she teased him about his lack of astronomy knowledge. "You're hopeless," she said, laughing as he misnamed a constellation. "Says the girl who stole my shirt," he shot back, nudging her playfully. They shared a blanket, their shoulders brushing as they looked through the telescope. The stars a quiet backdrop to their conversation. They talked about her comics, his carpentry, the way their lives seemed to keep colliding. The tension was a constant undercurrent, every shared laugh and glance adding to it. At one point, Henry pointed out a star, his hand brushing hers as he adjusted the telescope, the contact lingering. "You're good at this," she said, her voice teasing. "Making a rooftop feel like an adventure," he grinned, his eyes catching the starlight. "Takes one to know one." "You're not exactly boring, Sarah," she laughed, her heart racing. "Just turned 18. Gotta keep things interesting." One night, they met for a late-night coffee run at a 24-hour diner, the city quiet around them. The diner was all neon lights and retro booths, and they sat across from each other, sharing a plate of fries. Henry's presence was steady, his stories of old projects painting pictures in her mind. But the tension was a constant undercurrent, every shared laugh and glance adding to it. "You're different," he said, his voice low, leaning forward. "Just turned 18 and you've got this fire." It's hard to look away. Her cheeks flushed, and she tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. "Good. I don't want you to look away." His laugh was low, warm. "Careful what you wish for." They lingered in the diner, the fries growing cold, and Sarah opened up more. Her fears about her comics, her excitement about being 18, her dreams of seeing her work in print. Henry listened, his eyes steady, his presence grounding her. "You've got something special," he said, his voice sincere. "Don't let those doubts hold you back. The world needs your art." Her heart swelled and she smiled, caught off guard by his encouragement. "Thanks, that means a lot." They walked back to the building, the night air cool, and at her apartment door, Sarah turned to face him, her keys dangling, her heart pounding. She was still wearing his shirt, tied loosely around her waist, a reminder of their first moment. "You're making it really hard to keep this neighborly," she said, her voice a mix of teasing and truth. Henry stepped closer, his hand resting on the doorframe above her, his body close enough to feel his warmth. "Neighborly's overrated," he said, his voice low, rich. "What do you want, Sarah?" Her mouth went dry. What did she want? Safety, simplicity, the life she knew? Or this, him, the thrill, the fire he ignited in her just-turned-18 heart? "I don't know," she whispered, but her eyes lingered on his lips, betraying her. He smiled, slow and knowing. "You do. And I'm not going anywhere until you say it." She laughed, a shaky sound, and stepped back into her doorway, clutching her bag like a shield. "Good night, Henry," she said, her voice soft but charged with possibility. His laugh was warm, promising, his eyes locked on hers. "Good night, Sarah. But this isn't over." She closed the door, her heart racing, the flannel shirt still tied around her waist, its weight a reminder of the spark between them. As she leaned against the door, she smiled, her just-turned-18 heart ablaze with the thrill of what might come next, knowing she was ready to keep pushing the boundaries of her new adulthood.